Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I am ranking my top 20 most favourite PSAs. By favourite I mean the PSAs I enjoy the most that are actually good. Unfortunately the ones I enjoy as a guilty pleasure will not count. The reason why is because I think the PSAs that are my favourites should be good PSAs and not just guilty pleasures. And the PSAs on my favourites list should be easily justified because they're good PSAs. But anyways, I don't want to waste too much time, let's just get into this list.
Come on.
We're going swimming, my brother and I. We're going swimming with our best friend. We're going to swim in the canal, even though it's very cold and dirty. My brother and I run down the towpath. We're happy to be running because we don't get taken out as often as we used to.
Come on.
Best friend seems to have less time these days.
Come here.
Never been down this way before.
Come here.
Usually we go where there's more people.
Good one.
Now we're stopping. Suddenly my brother and I don't feel like swimming anymore. It's very cold. Very cold. So cold, our best friend puts us in a sack to keep us warm. I hope he doesn't slip, because it'd be very difficult to swim in this small sack.
Just starting off strong with this PSA. This one is quite sad, but it's quite real. I find this one to be quite effective because it doesn't rely on the dogs being abused and stuff. You only see the dogs being put into a bag for like 1 second and that's it. But that's the good thing about this PSA is it doesn't rely on shock tactics like My Little Puppy and How Much Is That Doggy, where they catch you off guard to make you scared of the PSA.
What you're about to see will change your mind about speeding. Two identical cars, one travelling at 60, the other at 65. A sudden change in the road ahead, and both drivers first react, and then, a moment later, they brake. And things start to get interesting. Down here, the difference is extraordinary. In the last 5 metres of braking, you wipe off half your speed. So this car is still doing 32 k's when it hits. This one also hits, but only at 5 k's. So no matter how good a driver you are, 5 k's difference up there makes 27 k's difference down here.
This might be my nostalgia boner coming out, but this is a good PSA. Simple but effective, but that's honestly just what I like. It's actually quite informative about how much speeding really affects you when you're driving and stuff, and it just completely cuts the bullshit and just gives you really good information about speeding. And honestly, this PSA does it in a really well done way, so I don't have much else to say. Let's just get into the next pick. Yep, this one makes me cringe, but it's still a favorite. Honestly, just find this one to be so simple and so damn effective. I've talked about this one in a few of my other videos, so I don't really want to sit here repeating myself non-stop, so just go watch those videos if you really want to see what I think about this PSA, because I don't have much else to say that I haven't said in those videos.
Thanks for the lift. You alright? Yeah, all good. Phil, look after yourself, mate.
You home early?
Yeah.
You alright?
Yeah, fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
What's going on, Phil?
Jared. I was almost killed today.
What?
Why are you crying?
I'm just happy Daddy's home.
Come here, sweetheart.
The most important reason for making your workplace safe is not at work at all.
Again, my nostalgia boner is hard, but I don't think it's so much more nostalgia on this one, to be honest. This is just a simple premise fleshed out into a 1.5 minute long PSA. There are a few other PSAs in the same campaign from WorkSafe Victoria, but I think this one's the best. Like, all of them are good, but at least in this one you actually kind of see what happened to the guy in the workforce. The one thing I will say is better about one of the other PSAs is that the person in the workplace accident actually dies in the other PSA.
It's the freshest of feeling, the coolest high. So pick up some heroin and shoot for the sky. Everybody's doing it, doing it. Everybody's doing it. Glamorous parties, a night on the town. With beautiful people, it's always around. Everybody's doing it, doing it. Heroin for the rest of your life.
Fuck. Honestly, the jingle of everybody doing it is way too catchy and it's a fucking crime. But the imagery of this one is actually quite disturbing, and I really think it's the jingle that really sells this PSA. Also, this PSA is made by Ridley fucking Scott. What is there not to like about it? Another PSA I've talked about way too much. Is there really much else to say about this one that I haven't said in my other videos? Look, I don't think so, so I don't really think there's much to say about this PSA because this is the third time I've talked about it, and I think it's just a really damn effective and well done PSA.
I am the spirit of dark and lonely water, ready to trap the unwary, the show-off, the fool. And this is the kind of place you'd expect to find me. But no one expects to find me here. It seems too ordinary. But that pool is deep. The boy is showing off. The bank is slippery. The show-offs are easy. But the unwary ones are easier still. This branch is weak, rotten. It'll never take his weight. Only a fool would ignore this. But there's one born every minute. Under the water there are traps, old cars, bedsteads, weeds, hidden depths. It's the perfect place for an accident.
Oh, look, there's someone in the water. Quick, use that big stick to get him out.
Sensible children. I have no power over them.
Oi, mate, that's a stupid place to swim. Hey, go over and get that thing to wrap him in. You don't have to feel cold, mate. How long was you in there? Ew, Wolfie.
I'll be back.
Finally, a PSA I haven't talked about yet on this channel. This PSA is just really damn good, and it's a classic for a good reason. It has Donald Pleasance, who was Dr. Loomis in Halloween playing the Grim Reaper, and the message of this PSA to be careful around water is pretty damn solid. This PSA is almost 50 years old, and it's still a really good PSA. I love the imagery in this PSA with the Grim Reaper following the kids in the background. It really looks nice, and also the cherry on the cake is Donald Pleasance's voice as the Grim Reaper. That's pretty much it I have to say about this one, so I think I've validated why it's here.
You don't know we die from tobacco. Sometimes you just lose alone. Oh, you don't always die from tobacco. Sometimes they just snip out your tongue, and you won't sing worth a heck with a big hole in your neck, 'cause you don't always die from tobacco.
Maybe controversial having this one on the list, but hey, it's my favorite, it's not yours. I honestly think that this PSA is quite effective while also being quite interesting. This PSA really catches my attention, but I feel like it catches a lot of other people's attention as well. This is honestly probably the best Truth PSA there is, and I don't think that's a controversial opinion because this PSA is the best one out of Truth's campaigns. Also, it is pretty obvious that this is the best one because Truth has had so many bad PSAs. Hey, another one I've talked about so many times. It's just a really effective PSA, and I don't really think I have much else to say about this one. Just go watch my other videos. I've talked about this PSA about 400 times.
If this is how your child feels after losing you for a minute, just imagine if they lost you for life.
My nostalgia boner is up again. But this PSA is one of my favorites because it's so sad, and that's why I find this one so effective. It really hits its message home with the fact that if your kids get upset when you leave for a minute, imagine them losing you for life to smoking. Honestly, such an underrated PSA, and I feel like many people besides people that live in Australia have seen this PSA. I've talked about this one in my top 20 most effective PSAs list, and honestly, it's just one of my favorites because it's so damn effective. It's honestly just such a well done PSA and accurately represents people with eating disorders. Also, the imagery is top fucking notch in this PSA. I love how they show the eating disorder. Don't really have much else to say on this one, but let's just get into the next pick.
Guess what?
What?
Can you keep a secret?
Maybe. What is it?
Come here. Look.
Wow!
See? Isn't that neat?
What is it?
I don't know, but I found it first, so it's mine.
What's that up there? Is that cheese?
Could be. It sure looks like something to eat, doesn't it? I wonder how this works.
Hey, don't touch it if you don't know what it is.
Why? What's wrong?
Well, I'm not sure. I just think that if we don't really know what it is, we shouldn't touch it. It might hurt us.
Well, then what should we do?
I know that some things are okay, and some things are not. And I think if we don't know, we should ask.
Ask who?
Somebody who knows about stuff like this.
Oh, you mean like Mom or Uncle Fred?
Yeah, or somebody else we trust. We don't have to be afraid, but we do have to be careful. Just because somebody leaves something lying around doesn't mean it's okay for us to play with.
Well, I found it, so I get to tell first.
Hey, wait for me. Race you home.
A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
This PSA is just so wholesome, and that's what I love about it. Another simple yet effective PSA that doesn't rely on shock tactics or jump scares, and I'm glad about that. There isn't really many good Canadian PSAs, but I'm glad there are a few good Canadian PSAs, because this PSA is really good. This PSA is also really appealing to kids because of the use of puppets, and the lesson for kids is actually quite good, that you shouldn't touch things without asking a parent or someone grown up.
PSA for all creatures great and small.
Honestly, this PSA is just so good. Another one I talked about in my top 20 most effective PSAs list, but this one's just so wholesome and I love the PSA. I really miss when this PSA actually aired on TV. It was up until about 2010 when the hit PSA from RSPCA came out in Australia. Also, yes, RSPCA in Australia PSAs are better than RSPCA in the UK PSAs. No argument there. The best Canadian PSA? Yeah, I think so. I really don't think there's many arguments about my opinion on that one. It's unfortunate that there aren't many good Canadian PSAs, and this PSA has a really good message that's well ahead of its time. And the message of the PSA is shown really well, and also the music really adds to this PSA, and it's just so good. The music just really sets the mood of this PSA and really gets you into the emotional feeling of the PSA, and it's just so good because of that. Again, another one I talked about on my top 20 most effective PSAs list, so I don't really want to keep rambling and repeating myself from that video, so let's just get into the next pick.
Goeiedag. Hallo? Ik zou graag een test met je willen doen. Stel, het is nacht en je ligt te slapen. Beneden is er brand uitgebroken omdat je een stand-by knopje aan hebt laten staan. En de rook gaat meteen naar boven, maar daar merk je helemaal niets van.
Wat moet ik nu doen?
Niets. Je bent al gestikt. En je kind ook.
Yep, this one is so damn good. I feel like my favorites are just simple yet effective PSAs. I feel like PSAs that are just simple become really effective because they have a lot more time to focus on something compared to PSAs that try to add too much and complicate things because they really don't get much focus on the things that they're trying to cover. I also love how effective the ending of this PSA is because really, if you were asleep and there was smoke going around, you wouldn't be able to wake up from that. You would just die. Sad but true.
No. This Shelly is into you, bro. No. She is. I know. I'm telling you, mate. Whoa. Nige, you okay? Don't tell him I was drinking, eh? Nige. Hey, Nige. There goes Shelly. You should ask her out, eh? What? What? What are you looking at? Stop staring at me! Get the hell off me! Get the hell off me! Get off! Get off me, Nige! Get off!
Some of you may not agree with me on this, but that's fine. The style of this PSA is pretty average, but when the car crashes, this PSA just gets really good. It's kind of funny that New Zealand tried to copy the "if you drink and drive, you're a bloody idiot" campaign, and they do it really damn well. There isn't any dramatic music or any of that shit in this PSA, it's just the ambience of the night, and I think that makes this PSA really damn effective, as you really feel like they're just out in the middle of nowhere and their car's flipped on its side, and it just really adds to the effectiveness of this PSA.
When your smoke alarm goes off, make sure you know what to do. Plan your escape now, or you might live to regret it.
This PSA just has an amazing ending. So sad, but honestly, this could happen to anyone, and same as the next one on this list. But honestly, this PSA is just not as good as the next one, and you'll see why with the next pick, but this PSA is really damn good. It's the ending that really sells this one. I feel like the start's a bit average, but it gets really good after the nightmare. I don't really have much else to say about this one, as I've talked about it in the past, but let's just get into the next pick.
There's just a huge void and there's nothing to fill it. Nothing at all.
The driver had been drinking and just smashed his car into the back of Michelle's car, and she died of head injuries.
Oh, she was lovely. She was full of energy, full of enthusiasm. Even if I could just hold her hand for 5 minutes, or tell her again how much I love her, or just touch her hair, I would give the world for that.
Yeah, this PSA is just the tiniest bit better than the last one, and this PSA is honestly just so sad. This is another thing that could really happen to anyone, and it's honestly just so real and so depressing. But this one's one of my favorites because it is so real and it doesn't have any bullshit in it. It's just real with its audience, and it hits really hard because of that.
Fairfield County 911.
I need help.
Where are you at?
Well, ma'am, I don't know exactly, but I'm freezing, and my girlfriend's is freezing.
Mike, I want to help you so bad, hon. I want to find out where you're at.
My phone's just about to die. You're my last chance here. We're scared. Please help us.
Fuck, this is depressing. Honestly, the best partnership for a drug-free America PSA, and by quite a bit. It's just so real and so sad, and this is an actual real 911 phone call of a couple getting lost in a blizzard while high on crystal meth. This is a real event that happened in 2005 with Janelle and her boyfriend Michael. It was because their car crashed about 23 miles away from their apartment. They ended up walking on foot, and the call in this PSA is the last call that they made to authorities after they made several calls. The fact that all of this actually happened in real life really adds to this PSA and makes it a lot more effective, and it's a shame that I didn't put this in my top 20 most effective PSAs list because I forgot about this PSA, to be honest. First honorable mention on these PSA lists, but I have to mention the Vince and Larry PSAs. They're all so damn good and very informative about seatbelt safety. They ended up becoming huge, and it's probably one of the most successful PSA campaigns ever, as they made seatbelt usage go from 20% to 69% during their run. They were so successful that toy lines and shows were made based around the crash test dummies. It was a strange time. Vince and Larry even did a PSA with Iron fucking Maiden. Now that's fucking metal. But all the PSAs are so good, and I had to at least mention them, and if you want me to do a full video on the Vince and Larry PSAs, please let me know in the comments, as I really love these PSAs and would love to talk about them.
How much brain damage the designer drug ecstasy causes. It's still being tested. Take ecstasy, and you're the guinea pig.
Well, this totally wasn't predictable. I'm an absolute sucker for this PSA, I'm not going to lie about that one bit. I've talked about this PSA way too many times, but I just love it. It's just another simple but yet effective PSA. It's disturbing, it's effective, and it's even informative about how dangerous ecstasy is to use. Honestly, don't really have anything else to say about this one, but I'm just a fucking sucker for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my top 20 favorite PSAs list. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video, and if you enjoy my videos, make sure to subscribe, as 55% of you aren't subscribed for some fucking reason, so what are you doing? Why haven't you subbed? Also, feel free to send me your top 20 favorite PSAs in the comments, and also send me some video suggestions, as I would really appreciate the suggestions. Also, make sure to check out my Discord, as there's a lot of beautiful people in there. Also, check out my Patreon, as TikTok and YouTube both don't pay me, and I am poor, and I would love to actually do bigger videos in the future. All that's in the description. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next one.